Hi, everybody. My name is CohhCarnage. It's very good to see you. And I have some stuff to talk about today. As you guys know, I've been streaming on Twitch for about 10 years. And in that time, we have done all sorts of other things on this channel. One thing that I've always really wanted to dive into is game dev. I've tried it a couple times in the past, and it has come with mixed results. However, I am back in real attempt number 3 to try to bring you guys something that I don't necessarily think is just special, but more is something I really would love to play myself. Some very quick background before we continue. I was approached a while ago now, months ago, by somebody who was a fan of the channel and said, you know, I've been watching you for a long time, kind of understand your philosophy and what you like to play, how you like to work, and understanding your limitations. We want you to be involved in our project. The project that they introduced to me had a relatively verbose demo. It had a very good idea about what it wanted to be, but it was still relatively early in development, still had years left to go. And what they wanted to do is bring me in as a producer to not only help make the game as good as it could, but to help kind of shape some of the core mechanics, kind of help design some of these things, and frankly, make it something incredible. So, that being said, I would like to introduce you to EMBERVILLE. That, my friends.
Oh, get the damn fish.
That, my friends, is the very, very early look at EMBERVILLE. So, what EMBERVILLE is, and it now is a page on Discord.
Please.
What EMBERVILLE is it is this new cool take on kind of what a Stardew Valley would look like if it leaned far more into the combat, was more of a darker tone, and more importantly, had a giant, thoroughly fleshed out procedural dungeon in which you then go into, you farm, you progress, you rescue people, you build a town. And frankly, it's just this really interesting, deeper look at everything I've kind of liked about these games, but in a more fleshed out, more kind of deep tone. So I want to point out a few things. First of all, the sound effects you just heard, all placeholder. These are all placeholder sound effects. This is all just kind of to get the game out there and kind of go from there, which is pretty cool. So also, I saw some people asking about some stuff in chat. So this here, well, you know what? Let's kind of do this. Let's do this. I wasn't going to do this, but you know what? Now that we're doing this, I want to do this. Let's talk about this game while we watch the trailer, and we'll kind of like be able to a little bit more kind of, you know, I'll let you in on what's going on here. So first of all, a couple things. Let's talk about what this game is. So EMBERVILLE itself is basically this game where you wake up having no idea what's going on. You don't know why you are where you are, and you are trying to figure that out in the course of kind of exploring this new world. This is a combat-heavy game. Not only is it a combat-heavy game, but you will have multiple different weapon types. There will be multiple skill trees. There's a full inventory. There is lots of loot. Now, we actually already have the UI and the inventory stuff, all that's done, but we did not put that in the trailer yet because we're still figuring out how that's all going to look. You also notice there's that little thing flying next to you. That's the mementos. That plays into all sorts of interesting stuff as well. Also has some customizability, plays into the story a lot. It's some very cool stuff. So we're doing some very cool things with this game that I'm extremely excited to do. For instance, like what I like to call procedural QOL and things like that. This is all stuff I've talked about on stream that I've talked about always wanting to see implemented in games, but I've never done it yet. So I'm very excited in doing this. Somebody said, are you a dev? Are you back in it? I'm a producer on this game. So let's talk about that real quick. What am I doing in this game? Every week I meet with the team for generally an hour or more. What I do is I learn exactly what's been done that week during what's called a sprint. We help plan out what's going to be in the next sprint, and I go over and give feedback on pretty much everything that's happened so far in that game. I have already seen implemented things that we have talked about, prototyped, and then put into the game. It is awesome, and the team behind it is fantastic. So they're a very fast-working, very dedicated team, and it's going very well so far. Second of all, what is this game? This game, so far, is going to be $25. It is going to have an open EA development cycle with community feedback. Think Subnautica, Baldur's Gate 3. There will be 0 microtransactions, and it will have a discount when it does go into EA with enough to really sink your teeth into when we get to that point. You cannot buy this game now, for the record. And we are not going to let you buy this game into EA until we have something that's like really something fun and interesting that you can sink your teeth into. You can wishlist this game. So if you are interested in following along with the development, again, we do have a Steam page up, and we would love for you to wishlist the game and you know, let us know you're interested. So you can do that by just going down and add it to your wishlist, like I just did. But yeah, that's going to be big. So there will be controller support, absolutely, yes. No, this game has no blockchain, Web3, or NFT integration of any kind, and we do not plan on doing any of that either. Will it be coming to consoles? That is further down the road. So let's talk about this real quick. We're shooting for early access early next year. Now, there are going to be some core components of the game missing at that point, and we were, of course, going to be very clear about what you will get. But the thing about early access, the thing about this game in general, is that we are taking an approach to this game because not only do we want to with the game itself, but also I'm in a unique position for this. We are taking the approach of this game where we are helping the community decide what this game becomes. The best way that I can say that is when I was talking to Bryn, who's the guy that kind of brought me on board. He had this very specific, interesting example where Unknown Worlds, the makers of Subnautica, early in the development process, when they were having feedback on their demos, somebody asked the Subnautica devs, why don't I have food and water in this survival game? And the Subnautica devs kind of went,
Nani?
Is this a survival game? Is that how this should work? And then that started off this basically change into what Subnautica is today. And what Subnautica is today is absolutely freaking awesome. So that's kind of what we're doing with EMBERVILLE. We have the core idea of what this game is. And then what we're going to do is, based on the path of EA, as we do major updates, as we continue to develop it, we are going to be taking community feedback and basically turning it into the best version of itself that it can be. So what we have so far, this is an action-heavy game. There is a full creative build element to the game. So as you'll see here, you know, combat is fast. Combat is going to be customizable. There will be different weapon types. There will be different ways to play it. But at the heart, like, there's going to be, like, this is a combat-focused game. These are some of the different environments which we plan to vary and have lots of different things to see. And one specific part I want to come up with and talk about is this part right here. So check this area out. Looks kind of like a general outdoor area. He's clearing out stuff and stuff like that. That's the same area. So one aspect of this game is that there's going to be a part of this game that you can basically customize, turn into, and make whatever you want to. Now, what's awesome about this is, obviously the next question is, where do you get all the materials and all the blueprints and stuff like that? Hold on to that thought. As you go down, you'll see here's another variant of the exact same area. So it's very much going to be like your area to develop. And then, of course, there's no way that I was going to be involved in a game like this if it didn't have a very extensive fishing system, which we do plan on making very extensive.
Oh, get the damn fish!
So, the cool thing about this game is here's how it works. There's big chunks of this game that you didn't see yet. So here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. The part that you saw right there is kind of like the creative building area, but there's another part of this area that is going to be more of a progressive, like a progressive building system. So there's this town. And I can't talk about this too much yet because we're going to let players explore this. But basically, kind of like how you have your farm in Stardew Valley and then there's the town, that's kind of like what it is here. But in the middle of this town is this kind of giant crystal called the Vitromos. And what that giant crystal is, for you guys, is a giant procedurally generated world. For my Path of Exile players, think a Delve map, but each map is like its own area with its own loot, its own monsters, its own little unique events. Now, inside of this giant procedural dungeon is going to be tons of things to find, tons of things to do, bosses, townspeople to rescue, things you need to do to restore the town. And as you do this, you will not only be progressing stories, meeting new characters, doing quests, progressing a main story, but you will also be doing all sorts of things to help build your world, build your character, get better equipment, make better potions, like tons and tons of different things to kind of progress your entire world forward. We're also experimenting with this kind of progressive QOL mechanic. You know, maybe you don't start the game with a mini-map, but then you rescue a cartographer, and then he gives you a mini-map. And then as you progress his quests, all of a sudden your very basic Vitromos map starts getting more and more detailed. You start getting more paths and know where to go. You start being able to find more things. At the very beginning of the game, maybe sorting is kind of a pain. Maybe there is no auto sort. But then as you get characters in your town, maybe you get auto sort. Maybe that leads into auto bank. Maybe that leads into items banking directly when you go to town automatically. So it's like this interesting idea of you start the game with kind of a more tediousness, kind of gamified version, but then as you get towards the end of the game, then you start seeing more and more of this stuff become like automatic and things like that. Now, again, I do need to say that this is a game that is in relatively early development. We do want to get the base part of the game prototyped and NEA early next year, but we're expecting another couple years plus of development after that. This will be a when it's ready game. We will not be asking you for funding, and if we do need more for any reason, we will get it ourselves. So it is not a game where you can expect to have a rushed, half-assed version out at any point. It is going to be a game that is going to be something that is special. It will be done when it's done. When it hits 1.0, it's going to be rock solid. And all of this was a big part of me joining the project as a whole. So I am very, very excited and frankly, just I'm so pleased.
Applause, if you please.
This project. I do want to thank the team at Cygnus Cross for including me in this. It is for those that don't know, this is the game called EMBERVILLE. You can now find it on Steam for those that are asking. There's an EMBERVILLE command, by the way, that I'll be popping my title, and that has links to the Discord. It has links to the video we're making right now. It'll be on YouTube in just a little bit, and yeah, it's gonna be great. Cohh Bombadil says, "Is there any way to give money though? I would like to support something that you're behind." First of all, Bombadil, that is super cool of you. Second of all, no. We will accept money for this product when we enter early access and we feel that we have something that is a good indication of where the game is going. At that point, we're going to be very open about what you'll be getting, and at that point, that will be the purchase of the game. As a reminder, this game is not going to be more than $25, and we are planning on giving a discount on that price if you plan on jumping in on EA. It will be available, like I said, probably early next year, but it may not. It may be longer if we want to do that. So that's how that works. No, but we are not looking for investment. We are not looking for any type of resources from the community. The only thing we want from you is to enjoy this game when it's out. That's it. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And that's where we are. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching. This is the first video of updates we'll be doing for this. One of the things that we'll be doing is as this game progresses, we'll be making more and more videos like this. If there's the plan kind of is to get it to EA and then do like major updates. So like EA might be version 0.5. You know, the first major update that adds a procedural dungeon might be 0.6. Then we may do a whole skill and weapon upgrade 0.7, that kind of thing. As we do those updates, we'll make more videos like this, kind of going over the patches, going over the progress, you know, going over your ideas, showing you what's been implemented from community feedback, how that whole thing's going to work. It's going to be a very inclusive process, kind of with the community. So we are very much looking forward to telling you more and kind of and doing that. The goal for this game, from my perspective, is I have been saturated in the game dev environment for 10 years. And my plan is to try to make the game dev process for this game pretty much as just rock solid as it can be. Just total transparency, trying to do everything right, trying to get you meaningful updates, trying to get the whole thing, you know, everything's on the table, well priced for what it is, you know, not trying to make any types of promises we aren't going to fulfill. It's you know, I feel like it's on a really good track, and I think it's going to be frankly pretty awesome, which is why I signed up with it. So that's where we are right now, and I hope you enjoy Emberville. We'll see you at the channel, twitch.tv/CohhCarnage. As always, thanks for your time, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.